Hello YouTube and fellow DC Comic fans! I'm Kelly One Shot, and this is the Post-Crisis Podcast. And today, we're going to talk about Justice League number 33 from DC Comics, written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV. Okay, so we start this story off in the Promethean Galaxy. It's here where we're at the edge of the timeline, where the Anti-Monitor and the Justice League have actually confronted Perpetua and Lex Luthor at the edge of time. We actually hear a message from the potential son of John Jones and Hawkgirl. He's sending out a psychic message, trying to reach out to his father. He's saying how Lex Luthor has already unlocked 6 of the 7 dark forces that is needed to power Perpetua, this cosmic evil goddess, and they're trying the best they can to fight this threat as best as possible, but they need John Jones to unite them and remind them who they all are. And it's here that the child reaches out to his father through a psychic link. We then actually return to the battle, where we see the World Forger and Hawkgirl trying their best to attack through the shield of Lex Luthor and Perpetua, and Lex is just being cocky here. He's like, go ahead, waste your energy on the shield. It's here that we actually see the Monitor, the World Forger, and the Anti-Monitor all link up hands together, and they're all uniting in their message against their mother. And it's here that Perpetua tells them that they may contain the energies of their respective domains, but they lack the power to shape it. The totalitarian, that power belongs to her. And they agree that perhaps we don't have that power, but Starman does. And it's here that Starman blasts the Brothers 3 with his cosmic energy, which is based from the totalitarian piece of Perpetua's power source there. And the brothers are getting charged by this power, and it's here that they feel a power that they've never felt before. And they actually unite and form together to create the Ultra Monitor, where they are the defender of the multiverse in all of its aspects, and they say that they have equal power to Perpetua and they will not let her win. It's here that Perpetua starts getting scared, obviously. She sends Lex Luthor out, and Lex is confronted by Hawkgirl, who desperately wants to kill Lex for assimilating the body and mind of John Jones so he could become this apex predator version of himself. It's here that we actually go to the past of 1941, where Barry Allen and Aquaman and John Stewart are with the Justice Society of America, and they're trying to get to Atlantis so they can take the piece of totalitarian from the past and find a way to reach through hyper time to send out a message that's strong enough to reach Starman in the future, so he can pull all of our heroes back to the present for this battle that they're having there in the future, in the present day, towards the end of time there. So basically, Aquaman tells them that he wants to go to Atlantis because it's here in this time period that the conch of Orion there is still in Atlantis, and that had to do with drowned Earth, and how Aquaman talks about how when he fought and defeated the Death Kraken, he thought he was dead and everyone thought he was killed, but it's here that the Anti-Monitor saved him and sent him on this quest to help save the Justice League on this mission, and he was traveled and sent through time to try to help them here, but he was too late, and that's why they have to try to get to Atlantis to try to make the best of what they have left over. We actually see Scott Allen talking to John Stewart. They're relating how there are different aspects of being Green Lanterns from different things. John mentions the Oath, and it's here that Alan Scott actually tells him that maybe the brightest day, blackest night concept is kind of an external thing, but maybe that's actually something that exists inside of each one of us, that there's being good and fighting off the worst in us. It's a constant, and in the end, that we, no matter how much we hope that history proves that some capacity, we're going to have this conquered hill and this battle that we're going to overcome. It's actually less about what we've won and what we've accomplished, but it's more about the fight itself, the battle that it took us to get there. And that's actually here where we go into the future, where we see the rest of the Justice League, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and they're actually fighting with the Justice League of this time and of this universe, and they're going up against Brainiac 1 million, baby. And Brainiac keeps getting stronger, and he's trying to easily defeat the Justice League here, the 2 Justice Leagues here, and he wants to stop them from returning to the past with the piece of totalitarian that they acquired here. But Wonder Woman gave that piece to Kamandi the Last Boy, and Kamandi is running away with it, and he kind of realizes here, he has an epiphany that it's all just a matter of time. and that's got to have something to do with it here. So he runs away with the peace and the power of the totalitarian. We actually then return to the present day, where we see the Ultra Monitor battling with Perpetua, and they mention how they locked her away for millennia behind the Source Wall before, but they have existed outside of the Source Wall, inside of the multiverse, for billions of years, and that she's not at full strength. So the Ultra Monitor is suggesting that they'll easily win this battle. We actually see that Hawkgirl is still fighting with Apex Lex Luthor, and Lex is really getting inside of Hawkgirl's head. He actually mentions that the last thing that John Jones, the last thought that Martian Manhunter had, was his shrieks and his cries, and it was only Lex that heard that. And it's here that Hawkgirl gets very pissed off, and she says that she's going to kill Lex, and she unleashes her power within her wings, which is an ancient power that has existed, and they've talked about it briefly since DC's Metal, and how she has the Nth Metal energy, and she's, this creature and character who's been reincarnated through multiple lives throughout eons of history. So she's an important figure, and we always knew that she was going to come and be important to this story eventually, but she unleashes her power too soon because she's in a rage with Lex Luthor, and Starman tries to convince Hawkgirl that she needs to wait for this. She needs to use this power to help the Ultra Monitor become a stronger force once they have all the pieces of the totalitarian here, so that way the Ultra Monitor can take on and properly defeat Perpetua, even if she's at full power. And actually here we see inside of the mind of the Ultra Monitor, the three monitors talking to each other, and they say that Kendra does have this ancient power created inside of her, the same type of power that created the Source Wall, this power that's from the ancient judges. So this power that Kendra has is extremely ancient and it's very strong. She easily kind of just cracks Lex in the face with her mace and just takes him out, where we actually then return to the past, where our heroes are swimming towards Atlantis, and Aquaman says that we need to be careful, we need to be quiet, and then sure enough they're caught by the Atlantean guard, and Aquaman just says, yo, everybody stand down, we're not going to fight here, I just need to talk to your king, I need to speak to him. And then it's here that we see Sinestro, Grodd, and Cheetah kind of menacing and following behind the Justice League as they're going to strike and attack Atlantis to some capacity. We then return to the future, where Brainiac 1 million, baby, has captured the Justice League, and he's showing him the peril that our heroes are facing in the present, how Lex is fighting with Hawkgirl and Perpetua is fighting with the Ultra Monitor, and how in the past the Justice League is being captured by the Atlantean Guard, and they're still not fully where they need to be for this mission to be success. And Brainiac says that it's all a matter of time before you fail, but they actually mention that they have a plan, and don't worry about it, Brainiac, that we can beat you. We actually then return to the past again, where Arthur mentions to the Atlantean guard that he's from the future, and he is one of the heirs of the king. He knows the king well, and he just needs to speak to the king. But it's here that Sinestro actually activates the attack on Atlantis, and then we actually see that Cheetah has on a leash Poseidon, the god who seemingly died and sacrificed himself at the end of Drowned Earth. He is still alive here, and he is being used by the Legion of Doom to attack Atlantis. And meanwhile, as that's happening, as Arthur is going to talk to the king in Atlantis, instead we find out that the Atlantean guard and king gave up his power as he was attacked by Vandal Savage and his Legionnaires Club. And that's a Vandal Savage within this time period, within this pocket of hyper time. That wouldn't be the same exact in our future Vandal Savage who actually died and shot his message out across the multiverse that John Jones picked up on, the one who was killed by Lex Luthor. That wouldn't be the real Vandal Savage. This is a pocketed time dimension version, which is kind of maybe going to be a way that we get retrofitted back Vandal Savage back into the lore, but he wouldn't know things that happen after a certain point, unless at some point Vandal came back and informed his past self about things before he died, which is I'm sure they'll do, so that way Vandal still retains all of his power. But it's actually here that we see an overlaying message happen here, and it says that my whole life I heard a story of a great disaster, a story about how when faced with great evil, good people banded together and fought back. About how they fought back as one and failed. For a long time, I thought that message meant that it was up to you alone to protect what you care about, to treat every fight as though you're the last person on Earth. And then Kamandi is actually telling somebody, now, in the face of this greatest disaster we've ever faced before, I see a different message in the old story. We cannot each fight alone, not this time. And we actually see that he's talking to Justice League Unlimited, which has Superman in his black suit with the silver. It has Batman Beyond. It has different Green Lanterns, Hawkmans. It's got a Wonder Woman representation. And I love Justice League Unlimited. It's a great story. I love Static Shock was in that group at one point, but we'll probably won't see that where we had Old Man Static. Yeah. So Kamandi sought out more justice to help with this battle. So they're going to be reaching out across time and the multiverse to help aid them in their quest here. So that's pretty cool because we're seeing more groups and different multiversal versions of the Justice League, which I am always for. And I am excited to see what happens in the next issue. I love this Scott Snyder run. Everything's been pretty epic. It feels like it's like a major event. It feels like it's a crisis built out and spread across the sheets that has been happening from Scott Snyder's Batman run in New 52 through DC's Dark Knight Metal, and it's continuing and spilling out onto the pages of this Justice League run, which he's been co-writing with James Tynion IV. I love it. Can't wait to see how the story unshapes and unfolds in the future. I'm Kelly One Shot. You can find this video, as always, on youtube.com/OneShotTheory. You can also check out my video and other contributions from different podcasters to written reviews and various other contributions to the website at comicbooklegion.com. That's comicbooklegion.com. Check them out. And I, as always, am your host, Kelly One Shot. Take care, have a great day, and goodbye!